Hey guys, and welcome back to Arrowhead Garage. Wow, you guys were awesome with yesterday's video. Thank you for your comments, your suggestions. I'm glad you liked taking that trip kind of back down memory lane to when we picked up the Firebird. Today, we're going to go into the second video I made, which is basically the video of taking everything out of the car, cleaning it, and finding kind of a base point of how bad the rust was. We knew how bad the rust was in the ceiling, the roof, because of that final top. We could see it, but what was the floors like? And most of the cars I've restored over the years, floors always go in these older cars. So today, let's dig into the 1967 Pontiac Firebird 400. Let's find out what's inside the car, in the trunk and inside the car. Let's pull the carpets up. Let's do some vacuuming. Let's find out how bad the rust is on the bottom of the car. We know how bad it is on top. And this is your first time watching Arrowhead Garage, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm taking you back in time when I restored my brother's 1967 Pontiac Firebird 400. Along the way, it should have taken a year, but it took 6 years to complete. You can watch all those videos. So let's shut up and let's get into wrenching or watching on this episode of Firebird Friday Revisited here on Arrowhead Garage. Yes? Say, Dad. Dad. You want to come give Dad kisses? You want to give Dad kisses? Yes? Is Maggie helping Dad? Are you helping your dad?
On last week's video, you saw my buddy and I cross 3 state lines to go and pick up my late brother's 1967 Firebird. Needless to say, when we arrived, it wasn't what we were thinking we would have to deal with here, with 4 tires that were completely dry rotted and would not hold air, plus a steering box that would not allow the wheels to turn. Luckily enough, with a couple guys and a lot of beer drinking, we were able to get this Firebird up on the rented U-Haul trailer to make our way
Lots of beer drinking and lots of whiskey drinking. Just saying.
back to Arizona. Just cruising along, doing great. About 100 miles from home is when stuff started to happen, but it was actually a blessing in disguise. We had a blowout on the trailer, and then the trailer tire caught fire, so we had cops and DPS show up. But the cool part is, the tow truck guy was able to deliver the Firebird and park it right in our garage without us having to do anything else. Blessing in disguise.
That was a game saver right there, big time.
Let's get to this week's episode. Alright guys, today's the day we start getting into the interior and the trunk area of this Firebird and just see what is in store for us. Again, it's been sitting out uncovered for 20-some years in the Midwest, and the elements have definitely taken its toll on the vehicle. And
I have to admit, one of the most exciting parts of the beginning of this project was cleaning out the car, because I could see there was stuff in there, but I had to catalog it. I had to, well, mentally catalog it. I should have written it down, but I mentally had a catalog of what was in there and what I was missing, or I thought I was missing, what I knew I was missing, and going. That was actually a lot of fun. And it's also kind of interesting for me because Sierra, the shop dog that you see in this video, and you'll see in most of the videos, she passed away from cancer in September, October of 25. So definitely miss her bunches. It's great to see how great of a dog she was. She was an amazing shop dog. So let's get back to watching the video.
looks like at one time there may have been some critters that wanted to live in there. So we're just going to go through, see what parts are laying in the trunk and in the inside of the car, pull the seats out. The interior, actually, the black vinyl seats, both the front and the back, actually appear to be in decent shape for the situation. So I'm looking forward to cleaning those seats up and seeing how they look when it's all said and done. So we'll kind of go through this kind of real fast here, getting everything cleared out, making a trash run a little bit later from, we pulled the carpet out, that was completely trashed. So I pulled both back and front carpet sets out to expose the floor. And here's kind of an inside view of just what we found. And I'm assuming that is part of the dash pad?
So that thing that I'm pulling out, that was supposed to be the dash pad for this car. And it it had been damaged or something, or neglected, or whatever else, but it would never sit correctly in place. But I held on to it for all those years. And then towards the end, and a couple months back, when it came time to do interior work on this car before taking it to Firebird Fest, I started tearing into it. And as I tore into that dash pad, it just started to fall apart in my hands. It was that rusted. The padding basically was holding everything together. And then when I started to unravel the stitching, it fell apart in my hands. So yeah, that's gone. And Bill O'Brien in St. Louis, he hooked me up with a used one. All I had to do was recover it. Great. Yeah, that was so much cool. That was so much fun. That was so awesome. Thanks, Bill, for that. So, okay, back to cleaning out this 67 Firebird. She was a nasty girl. Nasty.
That's an unusual part for me. I'll have to do some research on that. The seats were not bolted down, so they simply just lifted right up and out of the car. That was kind of a good thing, but at the same time, I need to find out if there's a rail that attaches to the bottom of the seats and then attaches to the floorboard. So, need to do some research on Firebird seats for this job.
Yeah, so interesting. The front seats were just tossed in there. Again, my brother laid the carpet down and put the seats in and called it a day. Apparently went back to drinking, and that day never came back around. So I was struggling whether or not there were brackets that needed to go down onto the floor to connect the seat to the car itself. But luckily the brackets were there. I just didn't realize it because they were so different than what Porsche does. So this is one of my learning curves on this build, that I had to learn the little things about American cars versus German cars. So, yep.
Generation. Other than that, though, glove box was open. Didn't find anything in the glove box worth noting. Found a rag. Lots of just crazy stuff. I think that was just kind of thrown in there as time went on over the last 25 years. What have it. Let me pull the seat out real quick here for us. Kind of see what I'm talking about. It just pulled it and grabbed it, and this seat here probably had about 3/4 of an inch worth of dirt and debris built up in between the seat bottom and the seat back. That was, wow, incredible. So again,
that was pretty gnarly. The first video, if you watched it, it was caked like that much dirt because that window was open for all those years, and the dirt just flew in. So that was nasty.
And some fast footage of just cleaning stuff out, pulling out the back seat area here in a minute, getting everything squared away. Of course, the shop dog Sierra had to help Dad as much as possible. Definitely curious as to what this thing is in her garage instead of her mama's big red truck. So in this box, I found a bunch of rubber parts. Gas.
My brother was actively buying parts. Probably when he had a couple nickels that he could rub together, he would buy it. And we found receipts from Classic Industries. This is probably the most other receipts that I found, or the local Chevy dealer in Elk City at the time, which I'm not sure who that was, but I remember just being, it was a local Chevy dealer there in Elk City, Oklahoma.
It's looks like receipts. Oh, birds. Awesome.
So funny thing about the birds, as you can see, there's no color to them. They were completely stripped of any color, and they weren't correct. I had to get a hold of Louis over at First Generation Garage and see if he had the proper bird emblems. Apparently, my brother was just kind of maybe buying stuff kind of like I do and not knowing that he already had one. And so there was lots of duplicates that I found in his stuff. And then, of course, I then learned going through it at the end after Firebird Fest going, oh, I have 4 sets of taillights and I have 3 sets of this and 2 sets of that. And it must be a guy thing or a family thing.
400. Yeah, this makes me want to find a 400 block now.
The 400 emblems, they were correct. There was only 2.
Find a 400. Don't think I need that anymore. General Motors parts. Got one. More than one.
And you can see that the one's broken. So again, he probably took the broken one, stuck it in the one with the right one.
Check that out. My brother's name is on there.
Apparently, I had 3 of one-sided fenders for the Firebird. Again, had to get a hold of Louis, have Louis send me another one.
1995.
Yeah, 95. So that's about when this car was last worked on.
And can't tell what he bought. 67 dash.
And I remember visiting my brother all through the late 90s, once a year,
so,
and there was never any progress made on the car.
I guess later on we can kind of go through these receipts and things. And here I just want to kind of go through those carpets one more time before I trashed them to make sure I didn't forget anything or left anything behind, any screws or anything like that. And then all of that just right off to the dump as soon as that was done. Alright, so here's our floor. I got glass still to clean up. But I'm going to have to really get in there and get some more stuff out.
And the carpets were basically new. He tossed them in there, and like I said, kind of just threw stuff back in, hoping that down the road he'd go ahead and finish things up.
Then our next issue is going to be, what is that? If you look down here, it's a small pedal, so that tells me it must have been originally a manual, but apparently it is an automatic in there now. So I'm going to have to get underneath there and see what I can figure out, what kind of transmission is in this girl, and kind of go from there. So let's see if I can't get that back seat out now. Well, next part is to clean up all this.
So that was a crazy dilemma for me. Was obviously automatic cars have one big brake pedal, and cars with a manual stick, they have a clutch pedal and they have a brake pedal, so they're smaller to fit in that same spot. And again, the carpet was covering up the shifter hole, and there was no shifter anywhere in any of the parts. So I was like, was it originally a stick car, and my brother wanted automatic so his wife could drive it or his kid could drive it, or what was going on there? And the wife actually told me that she believes that she remembers that it was a stick car when they picked it up and when they bought it. Going through Pontiac Historical Society documents, which you can send away for. If you want to know more about that, let me know. I'll leave a comment down below for you. From the factory, it was a 400 car with AC with a turbo 400 transmission. So at some point, either the pilot from Luke Air Force Base, or my brother, in a midnight swapped this all out. And what happened to original motor and original transmission? No clue. No one knows. My brother would know, but yeah, he's not here. So back to the video.
Glass and vacuum up what I can to get as much cleaned up as we can. Kind of assess how our floorboards look. And glove box, nothing much in the glove box. Felt lined glove box. Not sure if that's factory or not, but that's kind of a cool touch. Something not even Porsche did. And there's our AC vent and AC controls. And of course that steering wheel will be going. So if you're interested in a GT, whatever steering wheel that is, let me know. I can hook you up. And of course, here's our Swiss cheese roof. And
again, I thought that was cool as shit that the glove box had like a felt material to it. That was kind of cool.
It's going to have to be replaced. I'm still debating replace the skin and
Make it a convertible? I don't know yet, guys. I'm still up in arms about that. There's a lot to be desired. Oh, we still have stuff in the back deck lid there. So we'll grab that stuff out real quick too. I know there's a pandemic going on right now, but this isn't for the pandemic. It's for cleaning out the interior of the Firebird. All the whatever's in there, I don't want it to get to me. So a little bit of safety gloves, and we'll get back in there and I'll show you how gross that stuff is.
So getting in here, just using a brush, I kind of wiped or brushed up what I could of the glass and the big chunks of dirt and junk that I did find and what was left over from whatever was living in here at the time. And I just came in, sucked up all the broken glass. The driver's side window was shot out at some point, and the passenger vent window was shot out. So it looked like someone shot the vent window, and the bullet went through that little window and then hit the driver's side window, shattering it. So I'm going to have to buy some new glass for that. But after vacuuming everything,
and all the glass I thought was going to be hard to find, it's all available online and very reasonably priced and easy enough to install. If you need to replace some glass in your first gen F-body car, there's videos of mine out there on my catalog that you can check out if you need to replace those glass pieces.
everything up and taking a look, the floors have very little rust in it.
So it says stick it in. It says you'll feel and engage. Yep. And then turn it.
Ta-da!
What's in there? I had never done this trick to open up a trunk on an American car. Again, Porsche guy, we don't have, trunks. That's where the engine sits in these things, and there's a pull handle. There's no key. And there's no key for the front trunk on a Porsche. So definitely different stuff, but hey, I'm learning. I was learning.
I can't lie. When the wife and I popped the trunk, we were expecting like Jimmy Hoffa's body or something in there, but we did not. There were a lot of good goodies in there. We found the sun visors, which seemed to be a tan color. We found some window cranks. Looks like that variant, the bumper extension on there was in there. Quite a few things, little knickknacks, more window cranks. Looks like the wiper motor was in there. So I just went ahead and set up the GoPro and just kind of cleaned this trunk out. Again, my goal was to see how much rust was in the bottom of this trunk once everything had pulled out. It did seem like there was a fire at one time. The cardboard box there was a little charred, and some of the taillight connectors that were laying in the trunk were also a little bit charred, so I had to replace those as well. But once everything was cleaned out, there's some surface rust, but no rust holes, no rust that's not bad.
Well, this is the cleaned up seats. Again, not perfect, but not too shabby. Obviously, they'll have to be replaced, I'm sure. Have to have some stuff re-chromed. But for the most part, all I could find was just some surface rust. Now, I know the original interior of this car was red. It was a deluxe interior, and it was red. Car was a copper blaze special order color for '67 with red vinyl deluxe interior. So my brother had taken the time to get the seats either reupholstered in black, or he found another Firebird that had black interior, and he pulled those seats out, put them in his car, and trashed his red ones, or one of the two. Again, we don't know the full story. That we can wire wheel out and then cut over some Por 15. That's what I use for my Porsche, and I really enjoyed it. So just some surface rust, not no major holes or anything else. So I guess for now, we know we have the inside cleaned up, and we have the trunk area cleaned up, and we can move on to working on that motor. That'll be our next episode, where we finally will see if we can't get this bad girl up and running with this motor. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. And that will be the next video we do, is the first startup on this car. All right, guys, that was kind of a cool little run down memory lane. So yeah, the 67 Firebird, no rust in the bottom of it. It did have some surface rust. Well, eventually, I did find some extra rust in the driver's front floorboard. Eventually, I will cut that out and replace it. There's a video that you can watch that somewhere around here if you want to. But that and the rust in the roof were the only two big spots that we noticed rust for the most part. We did start sanding down the body for paint and body. We did notice rust in some other places. We had to then replace the passenger rear lower quarter panel there by the trunk and the bumper. That was pretty easy to do. Cut that out, put that in, easy stuff. But for the most part, this car was solid because it stayed on top of a slab of concrete for 25 years. So it didn't have the grass and the stuff growing up in the bottom and the snow and the stuff on the ground just seeping into it. So blessed with that. All right. That's it for this episode. Next episode, we're going to try to start that Chevy 350 up. I know, not a poncho. It was a Chevy 350, but I at least want to see if it would run and start because I was trying to do this whole thing on a budget and try to get it done in a year. So I was hoping this engine was still good and that we could just fire it up and I could run with that Chevy motor for the time being until something else came along. But we all know what happened. So next episode, we're firing up the Firebird the first time, go through a few things and, see what happens. So until then, have a good one.